Hello and welcome to Accelerate. I am Matt Stone. This is the podcast where we encourage and inspire CEOs, founders, and visionaries on their big leap journeys. We talk about the stories and strategies that will help you accelerate toward your big leap destination with purpose, humility, an open mind, commitment to growth, and recognition that the way we get there is at least as important as where we end up. And I'm so delighted that you've tuned in today. And it's Wednesday, September 7th. Cannot believe, I know I keep saying that, but it's just mind-boggling how quickly time is passing. Midweek here, and certainly we're past Labor Day, and boy, the weather has definitely, I went out yesterday and I thought, well, it's still in the mid-70s, supposedly, as a high. Or maybe even higher. I forget what the actual high was, but due to various other circumstances, it was actually quite cold in the city, and I was freezing. So definitely in that period where need to have a jacket, need to have a hoodie or something to mitigate the cold. And of course, it's going to get much, much colder, but I'm looking forward to fall. I've never lived in the Northeast in the fall. I'm just kind of excited. I think it's going to be a really nice season before we go into the depths of a Game of Thrones style winter. So, looking forward to that. Hope you're well wherever you're at, whatever weather you're experiencing or climate you're in. I want to talk just briefly today, and it's a theme that comes up over and over and over again. It kind of runs through everything. And it's the quality of our thinking. For anybody, doing any kind of enterprise, and it doesn't have to be an entrepreneurial enterprise to be an enterprise. It can take many, many different forms. So if you don't relate to the entrepreneurial, the stereotypical entrepreneurial enterprise, that's okay. If you're undergoing a major change initiative in your life, maybe you're transforming your body or transforming your career or your family. You're moving geographically very far away and we're going to restart your whole life somewhere else. These are all enterprises, and they all share a lot of commonalities. There's a lot of fear. The thing about an entrepreneurial enterprise that's added onto that is it often takes many, many years. And often, unless you've got huge funding and you're just, one of those very rare enterprises that just takes off, and very few do. You got a lot of years of scarcity, and the cycle is can often be, super high highs or at least moderate highs. And then in my experience personally, and, talking with other people, there's a lot of despair. And so it's just kind of like this up and down and up and down and up and down. Hopefully you can get out of that cycle and be in a better, within a certain margin of moderation. But with those lows, and to some degree with the highs, but I'll focus on the lows, the moments of despair, it's when this goes for any other hardship in life, right? That you're going through, huge challenge that seems overwhelming and paralyzing, is the thinking engine kicks in. And it's why I love going back to Tasha Eurich's book called Insight. And it's cover to cover full of excellence. But the chapter 5 on thinking isn't knowing, I think is just so dynamite. And I want to just read the very beginning of that chapter. There's a lot more in it that goes into detail. But she writes, "It was a Tuesday evening around 11 p.m., holed up in my dark office and lit only by the glare of my computer monitor. I sat staring at a set of freshly analyzed data. To say that I was perplexed would be an understatement. A few weeks earlier, my team and I had run a study looking at the relationship between self-reflection and outcomes like happiness, stress, and job satisfaction. I was confident that the results would yield few surprises. Naturally, people who spent time and energy examining themselves would have a clearer understanding of themselves. But to my utter astonishment, our data told the exact opposite story. In fact, when I first saw them, I thought we'd done the analysis wrong. The results revealed that people who scored high on self-reflection were more stressed, depressed, and anxious, less satisfied with their jobs and relationships, more self-absorbed, and felt less in control of their lives. And to boot, these negative consequences increased the more they reflected. What on earth was going on? And she talks about the myth of one of the big shocking myths about self-awareness, which is that, that we can kind of become more self-aware by self-reflection. And, this is a well-earned myth. I mean, growing up, at least at my age, certainly self-reflection was I always heard about it in the context of knowing yourself better. But the truth is that self-reflection is so often like hiring the same team that has already screwed up your company to fix it. I mean, that's the same thinking, the same wiring. And so in various different ways, as Tasha talks about, as I have experienced, as others have talked about, it isn't that thinking about ourselves has no value, but only if we're doing it in the right ways. Hopefully in connection with other people who can help keep our minds open and not fixed into narratives and stories that are not serving us. Because we all want to have story. We are all looking to, our nature is to operate in stories. So we have these stories about ourselves that we tell ourselves, that we tell other people, that reinforce it about ourselves. When we're in league with others in creativity, our minds can open to another possible storyline. Well, maybe I'm not bad at X, Y, and Z. I've always said I'm bad at this. Maybe I'm not. I mean, a small one, and this isn't that consequential, but I've always said, well, I can't draw. And it's funny because, no, my skill level at drawing is not high. But the phrase I can't draw has always been a kind of a block for me. If there's anything drawing related, I kind of pull back. I don't want to do it at all. I don't even want to try. So the fact that my skill level is not very high at drawing, is that a reason why I should never draw? That's closing off a whole, but that's a narrative that I've said about myself for a long time. I've stopped saying that now because it didn't serve me. But all I want to say is, in these cycles, when we're in creation and they're very, they're very, very difficult, these journeys, whatever journey you're on, look, it's difficult. And sleepless nights. I had a pretty sleepless night last night. My head's going. And when I got up, I thought, okay, what are you going to do? You're going to let the head dominate this narrative, because my thinking, I know, is not going to get better the more I internalize it and just think about myself. It's self-obsession. It's not going to prove anything. The key is the right actions to get me into a creative space, an open space, more humility, more creativity, more positivity. And I'm not talking toxic positivity. I'm not talking about positivity that shuts down reality. I'm talking about opening a perspective up so you can see other possible solutions and interpretations so that there's a chance for something to get better. Because after all, if the narrative we're telling ourselves, either consciously or subconsciously, is that there is no hope, maybe isn't that why some of the behaviors that flow from those thoughts are self-destructive or not positive? It can put us in a real cycle. So thinking isn't knowing, such a critical topic. It's one that comes up over and over again, but I love that story to kind of remind, when labeling things is so powerful. And it isn't the whole solution, but at least knowing what's going on. Oh, I'm in a rumination cycle. Okay, what do I need to do? Not what do I need to think? She also talks about how journaling is not necessarily all that, the way that a lot of people have done it. So great chapter. Chapter 5 of the book Insight has some really great stuff. I hope that's helpful for you. Are you in a cycle right now of rumination? Are you thinking about the same thing over and over again? Problem is, every time you think about it over again, every time that story takes another lap, it doesn't get better. Not generally. So we got to get out and work our way through it, connect with others, stay open. to other interpretations and to kind of a spiritual weather change, which tends to happen along the way. All right. Well, listen, go out, go forth, open up. Solutions will come. I really appreciate you listening to this podcast and staying with me through this crazy journey of life and business and connection and everything else. Share the podcast with your friends. Please rate us positively. Subscribe on whatever app you're on. Join me at mattstone.co. Mattstone.co is a website. Twitter at mattstoneco, at mattstoneco, and Instagram at the same handle. And tomorrow, God willing, my conversation with Alicia Huck will be posted, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. Have a great day, y'all. Bye-bye for now.